Good morning, listeners of Hot Topic and Fresh News. Today, the 24th of March, 2024, we bring you the latest pressing news from around the world. A tragic shooting incident unfolded at a concert venue in Moscow, causing the death of over 130 innocent lives. The North Korean leader Kim Jong-un took to the airwaves, expressing condolences to Russian President Vladimir Putin, underlining North Korea's stance against all forms of terrorism. ISIS, on the other hand, claimed responsibility for the horrific act, releasing a graphic video that purportedly showcases the attackers in the midst of the incident. Meanwhile, Crocus International, the Russian company owning the concert venue, pledged its full support to authorities in the ongoing investigation. Amidst international implications, the White House and Vice President Kamala Harris ruled out any links between Ukraine and the attack, pointing fingers back at ISIS. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also denied any involvement, accusing Putin of trying to implicate Ukraine in the situation. The global community has reacted strongly, condemning the attack and expressing condolences. In a twist, Belarus claims to have lent a hand in preventing the suspect's escape across the border. The estimated damage to the concert venue is reported to be a staggering 9.5 to 11.4 billion rubles. As investigations continue, 4 suspects have been apprehended and face the prospect of life imprisonment. As always, we're here to keep you informed on all major world events. Stay tuned for more updates here on Hot Topic and Fresh News. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Emily Norma, coming to you from the bustling city of New York.
And this is David Newstock, joining you from sunny San Francisco.
We're here, same time, same place, every day, bringing you the most pressing news on Hot Topic and Fresh News. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. It helps us continue providing these daily updates. Now let's dive straight into the hot topics. Continuing our coverage on the Moscow concert venue attack, the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, has extended his condolences to Russian President Vladimir Putin. This statement, as reported by Korean Central News Agency, underlines North Korea's stance against all forms of terrorism.
Could you elaborate on Kim Jong-un's condolences?
Of course. Kim Jong-un expressed deep condolences and sympathy towards Putin, the Russian people, and the families of the victims. He described the incident as a large-scale terrorist attack and emphasized that North Korea opposes any act that threatens human life. Furthermore, ISIS has released a graphic video claiming responsibility for the attack. The video allegedly shows the assault on the concert hall, with 4 attackers, faces blurred and voices distorted.
What does the video display exactly?
The 90-second video presents a gruesome scene. It shows one attacker signaling to another gunman, who then walks past a door where people are hiding and opens fire. The aftermath depicts bodies on the floor, blood splattered, and fire visible at a distance. One of the attackers is seen slitting a man's throat. To add to that, Russian President Vladimir Putin has suggested that Ukraine might be implicated in the attack. However, Ukraine has vehemently denied any connection to the incident.
What's Putin's reasoning behind implicating Ukraine?
According to Putin, the attackers allegedly attempted to escape towards Ukraine. He suggested that there was a plan prepared on the Ukrainian side for them to cross the border. But as I mentioned, Ukraine has categorically denied any involvement in the attack.
What's the latest from the owners of the concert venue, Crocus City Hall?
The Russian company, Crocus International, which owns the venue, has called the attack a monstrous tragedy and expressed deep condolences to the victims. They've thanked the concert hall team, who acted professionally during the crisis and managed to save many lives.
How is the White House responding to Putin's claims of Ukrainian involvement?
The White House, including Vice President Kamala Harris and the National Security Council, has categorically stated there's no evidence of Ukrainian involvement. They reiterated that the responsibility for the attack lies solely with ISIS.
And what about the public response?
The public has shown immense solidarity. People have been lighting candles at a memorial near Crocus City Hall. The tragedy has truly shaken not just Moscow, but the whole country.
Can you tell us more about the venue, Crocus City Hall?
It's a popular concert venue complex near Moscow. The attack on Friday night resulted in over 130 people killed and many more wounded after assailants stormed the venue with guns and incendiary devices. Before we dive back into our coverage, let's take a quick pause. You are tuned into Hot Topic and Fresh News. If you appreciate the work we're doing here and find our content informative, don't hesitate to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps us continue to deliver high-quality content free of charge. And if you think your friends might be interested in what we're discussing, make sure to share our podcast with them.
Absolutely. Every like, share, and subscription makes a huge difference. Now let's return to our discussion. That's a lot of new information, Emily. What's the latest on the responsibility claim for the attack?
ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack, but they have not yet provided any evidence. 4 suspects involved in the attack have been detained and are currently in the custody of Russia's investigative committee.
What about President Zelensky's reaction to Putin's accusations?
Zelensky has called Putin miserable and criticized him for waiting overnight before publicly addressing the Russians, only to accuse Ukraine of involvement in the terror attack. Ukraine's defense intelligence spokesperson Andriy Yusov has also firmly denied any connection to the attack.
And what's the global reaction to this tragedy, Emily?
Leaders around the world, including the French, Israeli, and Turkish presidents, have expressed their condolences and condemned the attack. The United States has also strongly condemned the shooting. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres denounced the attack and stressed that ISIS is a significant global threat.
There's also information that Belarusian special services helped Russia in this case. Can you elaborate?
The Belarusian ambassador in Moscow claimed that their special services helped Russia prevent the alleged terrorists from escaping across the border.
Lastly, Emily, do we have an estimate of the damage caused by this attack?
The total estimated damage to the Crocus City Hall is between 9.5 to 11.4 billion rubles, which is approximately $124 million. That's an enormous financial impact on top of the devastating human loss.
There seems to be a lot of back and forth between President Zelensky and President Putin. What's the latest there?
Indeed. Zelensky has criticized Putin for waiting overnight before addressing the Russians and then accusing Ukraine of involvement in the attack. Zelensky and other Ukrainian officials strongly deny these accusations. In his address, Zelensky also claimed that Russians have come to Ukraine, caused destruction, and then tried to blame Ukraine.
What was the reaction to the U.S. Embassy's warnings about potential terrorist attacks?
Earlier this week, Putin dismissed these warnings as provocative and outright blackmail. This was his response when the U.S. Embassy cautioned that there could be terrorist attacks on large groups.
Switching gears, what's the White House's stance on this terror attack?
The White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has stated that the United States strongly condemns the terrorist attack. She emphasized that ISIS, which has claimed responsibility for the attack without providing evidence, is a common enemy that must be defeated.
And what about the suspects in this case?
4 suspects have been detained and are currently in the custody of Russia's investigative committee. They were apprehended in the Bryansk region and later taken to Moscow. Speaking of which, there's a new development that just came out. It appears that
What's the current situation with the suspects?
as of now, the suspects are still in the custody of the investigative committee. They were brought there in 2 prisoner transport vehicles, and the vehicles are still in the committee's courtyard. This indicates that the suspects are likely being interrogated and the investigation is ongoing.
What are we expecting in terms of legal proceedings?
Over the next few days, investigators are expected to file a court motion requesting imprisonment as a preventive measure.
And what could be the potential outcome for these suspects?
If convicted, all 4 suspects could potentially face life imprisonment. We will continue to monitor this situation closely as it unfolds. We want to thank everyone for joining us today on Hot Topic and Fresh News. We dove deep into the ongoing tension between Ukraine and Russia and the recent terror attack near Moscow. We appreciate you taking the time to stay informed with us. Remember to subscribe and activate those notifications so you won't miss an episode. It really makes a difference. Please share our channel across all your favorite social platforms and even in person. If you enjoyed the show, we'd love to hear from you in the comments.
And remember, we're keeping you updated every single day. And you never know what surprises may come our way. That's the beauty of news.
We're so grateful for your support, and we're looking forward to our next episode.
Stay in the loop, keep your eyes on the news. Our channel's content will amuse. See you next time.